Standardized tests have gained many critics since their creation. There have been many claims that these tests cannot fully capture a student's knowledge or that they narrow class curriculum. Some of them even go as far as to accuse them of being biased and unfair. Yet, no one ever hears the positive things about standardized testing. First of all, standardized tests are reliable and objective measures of students' education, according to Richard Phelps, author of The Effects of Testing on Achievement, Meta-Analysis and Research Summary. Without them, policymakers would have to rely on tests scored by individuals schools and teachers who have vested interest in producing favorable results. Multiple choice questions, in particular, are graded by machines and therefore are not subject to human subjectivity or bias. Also, 20 countries studied have achieved significant, sustained, and widespread gains on national and international assessments, had used proficiency targets for each student, and frequent standardized testing to monitor student system progress, according to a November 2010 report by McKinsey and Company, a global management consulting firm. Secondly, standardized tests are non-discriminatory because they ensure content is equivalent for all students. Former Washington, D.C. Schools Chancellor Michelle Rhee argues that using alternative tests for minorities or exempting students with disabilities would be unfair to these students. She says, you cannot separate them, and to try to do so creates two unequal systems, one with an accountability and one without it. This is a civil rights issue. Lastly, China has a long tradition of standardized testing and leads the world in educational achievement. According to Sam Dillon, top test scores from Shanghai stun educators, published in NewYorkTimes.com. China replaced Finland as the #1 in reading, math, and science when Shanghai debuted on the Program for International Student Assessments, or the PISA, rankings in 2009. Despite calls for a reduction in standardized testing, China firmly continues to administer these tests. Chester E. Finn, Jr., chairman of the Hoover Institution Koret Task Force on Kindergarten through 12th grade education, predicts that Chinese cities will top the PISA charts for the next several decades. This means is that obviously China has replaced Finland as #1, who previously had no testing scores, no official standardized testing. Just remember that even though you may feel pressured or stressed about these tests, it has been proven and studied that they actually cause students to perform better and be better prepared in the world. Also, although it may be believed that standardized tests are narrowing the curriculum, they are not. Rather, they are focusing it on important basic skills all students need to master. You can find more information on this on limiting the unintended consequences of high-stakes testing, part of the Education Policy Analysis Archives by Stuart S. Yeath. Also, I know your parents have told you, you should do great on these tests, and they're always encourage you to do better, to practice, to study, to do anything you can to pass these tests, because actually they approve of them. They think that, according to Philip Elliott and Jennifer Agista, Parents are encouraging their children to perform better. They believe that these tests are fair and can actually help students and schools. Thank you for listening.